Tanya, I have a question. I have some like I'm representing the buyer. I approached couple of advisor business brokers who are having the listing.
Yep.
Uh, but they are saying we do not share listing or with you such kind of things. I saw some businesses on BizBuyList or some other uh, platforms, but they are not excited to show the share their listing. So how to approach what is the best approach that they can share the even you sign the NDA, but they do not willing to share their listing information.
Yeah. So what state are you in?
I'm in Tennessee.
In Tennessee? Okay, well, I can tell you that, you know, excluding Florida, which we just said, Florida does a lot of cooperating. The rest of the country, for the most part, doesn't. And so if you are representing a buyer, you need to have a buyer representation agreement where your buyer is willing to pay your fee. And then at that point, if you are out looking on BizBuySell and at other businesses that are currently represented by somebody, you can reach out to them and say, hey, I am representing a buyer. I have an agreement and my buyer will pay my fee. And sometimes then they will go ahead and share information from you. They don't want to pay you. They don't need you.
Yeah.
They have the seller, they have the listing, they're advertising it, marketing it. The buyers are going to come to them, and you don't work for them. They don't want to pay you. So that's just the reality in business. The business transactions, the seller's CPA does not pay the buyer's CPA. The seller's attorney does not pay the buyer's attorney, and the seller's broker does not want to pay the buyer's broker. And again, Florida is its own world. It's a little bit different, but that the rest of the country operates pretty much that way. Business sales are confidential. That's the other thing. Business sales are confidential. A seller does not want to share a seller's agent or a listing agent does not want to share information with another agent or broker that they don't know has the experience and the knowledge and the training to keep things confidential. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of agents right now that because real estate was, the residential side of things slowed down quite a bit. So now there's a lot of people starting to come over trying to do things in business, but they have no training. And so, and they don't know things are supposed to be confidential. And so it becomes a problem. And so a lot of the business brokers, that's the first thing they'll ask is, are you a member of the local association? Like, are you a member of BBF? Are you a member of CAB? And if they say no, they're not a member of CAB, then it's like, okay, well, I'm happy to pay you a referral fee, but I'm not willing to give you information because I need to maintain the confidentiality for my seller.
But so, hold on, how are we even going to get paid? I mean, that's kind of changing the whole situation with representing a buyer. I thought it's the same deal as with the commercial real estate where it's undisputed.
No, I mean, there's very few business brokers other than in Florida, very few business brokers that I know of represent buyers. Because you just can't, buyers will come. If you have a good listing, there's so many buyers out there looking for good businesses. As a business broker, you want to focus on dealing with business owners, talking to business owners that are wanting to retire or helping them understand what they need to do to put their business in get everything in order so that their business is saleable. But I think in California, I met one business broker who was a buyer rep. In all the years I've been doing this, it was one. And she was very good at it. She always had agreements with her buyers. Her buyers were going to pay their fee. Now, I would cooperate with her. I would share fees with her. I know other brokers did also. And her agreement basically said if she was compensated by the listing side, she would offset the buyer's obligation. So, you know, you don't want to double dip. But for the most part, buyer representation, if you're going to do it, get your buyer, you know, your client should be hiring you. Your client should be hiring you. You're doing the job. You're working for them. They need to be compensated. And that's
Is it
just how it is.
in Florida, or are you describing some situation for outside Florida?
Florida is an anomaly. Florida, they do, because Florida has their own MLS system for business brokerage, they have a lot more cooperating, a lot more sharing fees and all of that. The rest of the country does not. So Florida works a little differently. But even so, in Florida, they are going to, you know, business sales confidential everywhere in the country. And they are going to want to make sure that you have appropriate training before they start sharing information about their sellers with you.
I see. Well, no wonder the person, the last person who asked me about BBF, also, you know, kind of asked who am I, and you know what's my involvement here. And then he kind of said, look, I'm, you know, not sure, but why don't I just, you know, pay you referral fee? And I said, no,
Yeah.
no, I don't want the referral fee. I'm, you know, going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting. I'm consulting my customer who is also Russian speaking and this and that. And I gave him the spiel that I business owner myself, and that's why I was hired to represent. So I said, kind of push him down. I said, no, I need co-brokering. I don't want any referral fees.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have
So
more.
I think after you join BBF, you'll have a, you know, things will change, because then you'll say, yeah, I'm a member of BBF. And then they say, okay, well, you're a member of BBF, so you have had some business broker training, or I'm sure they're going to assume you've had some training and all of that. So,
And by the way, are you sure that EXP Commercial is the member of BBF? Is that, I hope it's
no, that's why I said you got to call your state broker, because
I
Brittany
already
would be the
sent
one
her
that
a
would do it.
yeah.
She would be the one that would join. So I don't know if she has or not.
Okay.
So I have
But
a
yeah,
question
it
for
would
you,
be the
Tawnya.
state broker that needs to join. Yeah.
So say in a scenario, if the seller is not really ready to sell, maybe 2 years, 3 years down the road.
Hmm?
So do you use a judgment call to start consulting with them as far as, you know, for the exit planning? And then do you charge a consulting fee, or can you charge a consulting fee in that particular scenario, to that particular in that situation?
Well, there are a lot of tools out there for exit planning. There are a lot of training out there for exit planning. There's a lot of tools and training for business growth processes and business consulting. So if that's an area that you want to go into, then yes, absolutely, you should be charging for it. Because if you don't, you're going to find that you're spending 2 and 3 and 4 years working with somebody, and all that time you're not making any money. How are you going to, you know, you can't work with somebody for 5 years and then sell their business and you know, get paid some amount after 5 years. I mean, so you've got to be charging for consulting services if you're going to be providing consulting services.
Okay, thank you.
Depends on the extent. I mean, I know a lot of brokers that'll just say, okay, you know, let me connect you with these people, right? And they'll connect them with somebody who does exit planning. They'll connect them with somebody who does business growth. And then they say, you know, I'll check back with you every 6 months to see how things are going. And so then they just calendar a 6-month follow-up call. So that can happen. You know, every broker, there are a lot of brokers that only want to be involved in transactions. They don't want to deal with consulting. They don't want to trade time, you know, time for money. And that's what consulting is. So it's an individual decision, individual choice.